everyone, welcome to Jolly Molly TV. Today we are going to start stitching out this amazing project which is called Build a Halloween Bookshelf, and it's by urbanthreads.com. This is amazing. This is going to be so much fun. So make sure you watch the first video where I introduce the project and I go through your prep and all the supplies you need to do this project. So you'll be ready for this video, okay? So hopefully you've got all that done. Now you're ready to go. So today's video, we're going to stitch out this block right here, which I believe is called Skull and Crow. So let's get our supplies, head over to the machine, and let's get started stitching. Okay, we're at the machine, and I need you to get your hoop. And I need you to hoop a piece of the poly no-show mesh stabilizer in your hoop. Whatever size design you're doing, take your hoop, put that poly no-show mesh inside that hoop. I'm using the just under 8-inch designs, so that means I have to use my 8-inch hoop. I have a Baby Lock Destiny machine, and that allows me to use this 8-inch hoop. So that is what I'm going to do. All right. So then before you put your hoop on the machine, I want you to put a bobbin full of black bobbin thread down below. We're using black fabric, so it's best to use black bobbin thread down below, because if there's any issues with the tension on your machine, even the smallest issue, if you were using white bobbin thread, and it pulled the bobbin thread up to the top of the fabric, you would see a little bit of white. So we don't want that. So if we do have any issues, the black thread matching the black fabric won't show. All right. So that's the magic of hiding any tension issues there. Okay. So now I want you to get your color sheet that you've printed out from the first video. And we know that the very first color is going to be Battleship, which is like a dark silver. So I'm going to put that color thread up in the top of my machine. Okay, so I've got that dark kind of a silver colored thread up on top, and I don't have any loops. If you do see a loop, get that loop out, because it'll wrap around your foot and cause damage to your machine, and we don't want that. All right, so let's go to the screen cam and let's load the design. Okay, I'm going to click on Embroidery. And I have all my designs on a flash drive. So I'm going to click on the flash drive. And I got a lot of folders here, but I've labeled it separately, Halloween Bookshelf. Okay, so you can do the same thing on your machine to make it easier to find your designs. All right, so we've got all 9 blocks here. Isn't this going to be fun? All right, so the first block we're going to do is this one right here, which is the Skull and the Crow. I called it a raven in the first video. Probably same thing. So that is what they've called it. So that's the first one we're going to do. So I'm going to click Set. I don't need to move it. I don't need to do anything to it. You can see here, my hand in the way, that I have the just under 8-inch design, 7.8 to 7.79. That's the one I want. I don't have to move it or do anything to it. I'm going to click Embroidery. We're back to the machine. If you watched my first video in this series, video number 1, the introduction, I had you cut your fabric and I had you put a piece of fusible on the back. Didn't have to be the full size because the stitching is not going to the entire edge of the fabric. So you've got that done. All right, then I had you cut some batting. And you're probably wondering, why are we using batting in this project? It's not shown or listed in the design file. I love to use batting to enhance my blocks. So what it does is it basically gives you that quilting look as it stitches and your final product, because it then gives you dimension to the block. It's not just a flat block on a piece of fabric. Also, when you fuse the back of your cotton, you're supporting it, but so is the batting. So any puckering that would still occur even after we fused it is not going to happen when we add the batting. It gives a beautiful block with 0 puckers. I actually learned this trick years ago at an Anita Good Design embroidery event. And ever since then, I have used batting in my projects. I had been battling puckering and could not get a block to come out clean. And I went to this event to learn some more tricks of the trade. They showed me this, and this literally changed my embroidery life. It changed the way I do all my projects. I have not had a problem with puckering since doing this combination of fusing and batting underneath. So this to me is a winning combination. So I hope you try this and you'll see how it comes out as we do these blocks. I really hope you give this a try in your embroidery projects. So because the design was not built with this in mind, if you look at this, whoops, there we go. If you look at this, the very first stitch it wants to do is to start the crow and the skull. Well, we need to put a placement line, put the batting down, trim the batting, and then stitch the fabric down on top before we get to the stage. Those steps will also help prevent any puckering from the outside because the fabric's not going to move while it does this stitch. So what we're going to do is we are going to go to the very last stitch in this block, and which they do an outline stitch, and we're going to use that outline stitch here to do all the steps that I want to do. So I'm going to hit the plus and minus key on my machine. If you want to follow along here, the steps I'm doing is on a Baby Lock Destiny. It's identical to the Brother Dream machine, so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Then you can adapt it to your own machine. So it's now given me some steps up and down to do. And I'm going to just go forward. Here we go, get that off my machine. Just so you can see what we're going to do. There's a shortcut to go backwards, but I'm going to go forward so you can see kind of where I'm going with this. I'm going all the way down to the very last stitch in this project, and your hoop is going to move as you go step by step. I'm going forward. Okay. Again, I could have gone just one backward, but I wanted to show you kind of where I'm going with this. Okay. Almost there. There it is. You see this outline? This is the final stitch of this block, where it is going to go around the outside and tack all that down. I want to do this first. Okay. I want to do this to place that batting, tack it down, and then place the fabric. And then the fabric's not going to move. All right. And we're going to be completely supported, and there's going to be no puckering at all and no movement in the fabric. If you don't do this and you don't tack anything down, when it starts to stitch, there's a chance it could pucker and move along this line. Doing this first totally eliminates that possibility. The fabric's not going to move. So I'm on the very last stitch of the block. Let's go back to the hoop cam. Okay, my hoop has moved itself where it's going to start stitching. I have that first gray thread in the top, which now I don't want that. I want black. So I'm going to change this up here. Sorry about that little misdirect here. We're going to put black in, because I want this to tack down, do all that, and tack the fabric down in a matching color thread. You want to match. So I've got black fabric. I want black thread. So let me put that in the top of my machine. Okay, so we're good to go. Again, we're at the very last stitch in this block. We've got black thread to match my black fabric. And now I'm going to put the foot down, and I'm going to stitch out this stitch, which is going to be an outline all the way around the outside. Here we go. Okay, now it thinks it's done. It says it's finished. I'm going to click OK. Now I'm going to go backwards one. You could go forwards through all the stitches again, but there's a shortcut now I'll show you, which you just go up arrow, and it will take you to the last, or back to the last stitch that you did, because we want to do this again. All right, yes, we're going to stitch that out again, but first we're going to put the batting down. So here we go. I'm placing the batting. It's obviously covering all of that stitch line, but make sure it does. And you want excess on each end so you have something to grab onto to trim later. All right, so we're going to just leave this down, and I'm going to put the foot down, and I'm going to stitch that line out again, and I'm going to use just my hand and my stylus to hold the batting down to keep it flat as it stitches this stitch out again. Okay, this is tacking down the batting. Okay, that's perfect. Now, normally when a design is programmed to use the batting, you're going to have a double stitch around this side, okay? We don't really need that, but what we're going to do when we trim this is we're going to trim this very carefully. We're going to trim it so we don't nick those stitches going all the way around, okay? So just take your curved scissors that I showed you in video number 1. We're going to take the hoop off the machine, and you're going to trim away all of that excess batting around the side. Just don't nick that stitch line, okay? And I'll meet you right back here. Okay, isn't that great? It doesn't have to be pretty. I just did it to the point that it's not right on that line. And this will all be buried into the block. So like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. I just don't like to have that line nicked. If you do accidentally nick it, it's not going to be that big of a deal because it will be with the fabric on top. It'll be built into the block, but this way it's lying completely flat. All right. So now we're going to put our fabric down, and the way you center it, because we cut 10-inch blocks, is just kind of feel for the edge. Here's the edge, and you've got it top to bottom. So we're pretty well centered. Doesn't have to be perfect again because we have a cushion. This is going to be an 8-inch block, and we cut the fabric to 10-inch. So you see I've got a cushion on all sides, okay? So now I'm going to put the hoop back on. I've got the fabric laying down on top of that, right where I want it. Now we're going to go back to the screen cam, and we're going to go back to that same stitch. So it says it's finished. Click OK. I'm going to go up arrow, which takes me back to the very last stitch that I just did. We're going to stitch this out again. This is time number 3. All right. So let's go ahead. And I've got this in place where I want it. I'm going to hold it down with my hand and my stylus. Put the foot down. Black thread still up on top, and let's tack down the fabric. Okay, isn't that great? All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of Scotch tape or embroidery tape if you have it, and I'm just going to get the fuzz off of the block. This is fuzz from my batting, and I don't want that permanently in my quilted design. So I clean it up right at the last stage. If it's on the outside edge, that doesn't matter. The main thing is that I've cleaned off the center of the block where the stitches are going to go. All right. That's always going to happen, especially with black fabric, because you see it. On other colors of fabric, you really wouldn't notice it as much, but on black you do. All right. So now let's go to the screen cam, And now it says it's finished embroidering, which is good. Click OK. Now it's automatically back at the very first stitch. That's where we want to be. All right, so we stitched the last stitch 3 times. We did a placement line to where to put the batting. We did it a second time to tack the batting down. Then we did it a third time to tack the fabric down. And now, you know, even if we didn't use batting in this project, which I highly recommend, this stitch out here that we just did is going to keep this top fabric from moving and shifting. So I recommend that any project that you do this technique so that you are securing the fabric before you do the stitch out. That way you're going to help avoid puckers there too. The main goal of doing embroidery is to come out with a finished, polished block without any puckers, movement, ill alignment, etc. And these are the little tricks that will help you do that, because you want as perfect of a block as you can get, right? Okay, now I'm going to take the black thread out from the top of the machine, and I'm going to put that silver in the machine. That's the color we want for our very first stitch. They call it Battleship. Okay, mine's a little bit lighter. It's kind of a medium. I wanted it to actually show well on the black, so I didn't go with a dark gray. I went a little bit lighter. But you put whatever gray you have in. Yeah, see, it's going to show up nicely. Okay, so we ready to go? We're ready to go. We're at the first stitch on the machine. This is approximately a 14-minute stitch out, so we'll fast forward, but you sit back and enjoy the stitch out of the start of the skull and the crow. Here we go. Isn't that amazing? I love watching these blocks come together. So much fun. Now what I want to show you is on your color thread changes. Do not go down in the order that you would normally assume, where it's top to bottom and then over here. I think it's the way it used to be. It now goes across. So this is 1 battleship. Number 2 is over here. Number 3 will be majestic purple. Number 4 is mystic lavender. So go across to the numbers. So the next one is going to be the lighter overcast gray. Okay, so go left to right, left to right. Don't go up and down, all right? So number 2 is overcast gray, which is this one here. So go ahead and put your lighter gray thread in the top of your machine. You got a loop here. Get this loop out so that it doesn't wrap around and cause damage to your machine. So now we're ready to go. So the next step is a 7-minute approximate stitch out with the shading on the crow and the skull. Here we go. Enjoy. Okay, that's looking good. So now if you look at your chart, that was 1, that was 2, and now we're back on the left for number 3. All right, so the number 3 is majestic purple, and that's the color purple I've chosen. Get your purple out, and let's put that color thread in the top of your machine, because now we're going to do the accent on the book, and it looks like a candle. This will be pretty. This is fun, okay? So go ahead and load that thread. And we'll be ready to go here in just a second. Again, we got a loop. Get that loop out, all right? Foot down, and let's stitch this out. This is only about 2-minute stitch out. Here we go. All right, now we're ready for number 4. Thread number 4 is Mystic Lavender. Okay, so go ahead and get your lavender thread out and put that in the top of your machine. And now we're going to be doing more of the candle. All right, this is cool. Starting to look spooky. All right. Here we go. Any loop? Nope, we are good. All right. This is about a 1 minute stitch out. Here we go. Okay, that's looking great. So now we're on to thread number 5, which they're asking for a dark teal. This is the color I've chosen. Get your dark teal thread. Let's put it up on the top of your machine. And this is about a 2 minute stitch out approximately. And that's based on my machine speed. I do not run my machine at full tilt. I believe I run it about half speed. No loop, we're good. Because that way it protects and extends the life of your machine as long as you're not running at full speed. And that way I think I also get better quality on my stitches because it's running a little bit slower. So that is where, when I say it's a 2 minute stitch out, that's what it's based on, is my machine speed. Okay, so we ready to go? Let's stitch this out. This is going to be an accent on the bottom book. Here we go. I'm loving that color combination. Okay, we are on thread number 6, which is a khaki color. So let's switch these threads out and put the khaki thread up on top of your machine. And this looks like it's going to be the flame shadowing. Okay. Very cool. All right, let's make sure we don't have a loop. Oh, we got a loop. Get that out. Okay, we ready? It's about a 1 minute stitch out. Here we go. Okay, see, it's starting to come to life, right? All right, so we are now on thread number 7, which is a sawdust color. So I went a little bit brighter on mine. I wanted it kind of be more of a golden for my flame. So you pick which color you have chosen for sawdust and load that in the top of your machine. All right. And no loop, we're ready to go. So let's stitch this out. This is approximately a 4 minute stitch out. Here we go. Okay, that's cool. Now let's go with a baby's breath. And that's going to be number 8. Thread number 8. Okay, so we'll put that in the top of our machine. This one could have been a little more gold. I'm cool with the way it looks, but if I had to do it again, I would probably go more of a gold color. But that's okay. We're good with what it is here. Okay, no loop. This is about a 2-minute stitch out, and it's going to do the eye and some accents around the candle. All right, here we go. Nice. Okay, it's coming along. So now we're looking at thread color change number 9, which they call terracotta. So let's put that color thread in the top of our machine, and we are just moving right along. Yes. All right. A little tight there, but we did it. Oops. Okay. Once in a while I do this. I forget to take the previous color thread out. All of a sudden I have 2 colors down here. All right, let's get that loop out. There we go. No loop. Okay, this is about a 2-minute in real life stitch out. Okay, it's going to do it looks like a shading on the book that's standing up on this side on the left. All right, here we go. That's cool. I love that darker, almost a brick red. Gives a nice accent on that. So now we're looking for color number 10, which is a copper. Okay, and mine's kind of like a slightly dark orange. Oops. There's a sticker on my thread. I gotta take that off. Otherwise the thread will get stuck on it, and then I'll have an issue, which I don't want. Okay, so put your copper thread up on top. And we're looking at only about a 1-minute stitch out. Okay, no loop, we're good. Here we go. Okay, now we're on to step number 11, which is a coffee bean, or kind of like a light brown color. So we're going to swap that thread out. Coming right along. Yeah, we're basically halfway done already. Can you believe it? It goes by really fast when you get to watch it come to life, you know? Doesn't seem like it takes that long. Okay, this is a 7-minute stitch out. Ooh, so this is going to be doing the shelf down below. Okay, no loop. So sit back and relax. Enjoy. Okay, we're now on step 12. It's getting exciting. Now they call for an emerald black. And when I did the first video, I had selected kind of an off black, but I don't really think that's going to show that well. So I don't have a black with a green tint to it, but I have a black with a blue tint, and I have like a dark gray. So the all black is out. I'm not thinking this. I'm thinking the blue black because it gives it kind of a hint of blue, just a little bit of the navy, but it's mostly black. I think that would look great as an accent on the skull and as accent on the bird. So I'm going to go with a blue black. Sometimes you got to change things up depending on, you know, as you go through the project, you're like, yeah, that's not going to look that good. As you see the project come to life, you can say, yeah, the black is too black. It's going to be this. It's not really going to show. So it needs a little hint of a color, but yet still be black enough for an accent. So I'm going to go with that. Just change it up. Pick which color thread you'd like. If you have an emerald black, that would be great. I think that would be an amazing color to do like the whole crow in, because it would look like kind of an iridescent. But I don't have an emerald black, so we're going to go with a blue black. And hopefully this is going to work out. I think it will. We're going to be positive. All right, so put your thread up at the top of the machine. Always pull your thread out. Never go back up your machine. Always pull it straight out when you're getting the old thread out, because that's the thread path that the machine was supposed to have. And you don't want to go against that because it could cause damage or the thread could break in the inside of your machine. We don't want that. All right, so let's thread this. And no loop. I think that's going to look good. I can see it kind of puddling on the fabric. It gives enough of a color difference there that you can see it's not black. Okay, let's do it. Let's stitch this out. It's a 7-minute in real life stitch out. Here we go. That came out looking really nice. I like the fact that it gives a little bit of color. It wasn't totally black. And it looks really good on the crow and the skull as well. So I'm happy with that. So if you don't have a black with a hint of green in it, a black with a hint of blue works really well too. All right, so now we're going to go to thread number 13, which is the Mystic Lavender. And now we're going to do some more book accent and candle accent. All right, so put your Mystic Lavender up on top. Thread your machine, and we are ready to go. Here we go. See if we have any loops. Yep, we got a loop. So we'll get that loop out. There we go. All right, this is a 3-minute and real life stitch out. Enjoy. Isn't this looking amazing? All right, so let's go to number 14, which is Carrot. It's kind of like a light orange, orangey peachy color. So I'm going to put that in. But before I start stitching, I'm also going to check my bobbin thread, because we've done just over 26,000 stitches. And I'm betting I'm going to run out of bobbin thread soon. And when I'm in the middle of something like this, I really don't want to run out, because it'd be very difficult to try to figure out where you left off to restart. So I'm just going to take this off real quick, gently. And because it's block thread, it's really hard to see. Yeah, I'm down to like the bottom. So I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to put in a new one. The reason I do that now is, again, I don't really want to run out. I can use this for a scrap later, because we're doing a lot of line work here, and I want to make sure that I don't have to worry about starting and stopping over again and figuring out where it didn't stitch and where I need to start. So this is just an easier thing to do. And then I don't have to worry about it. So put the hoop back on gently. And we're ready to go. No loops there. We're set. This is about a 1-minute stitch out. This is number 14, Carrot. Here we go. Yay! Okay, so now we're on to number 15, which they call a green turquoise. I've chosen out of my stash a turquoise that has a little bit of a kind of a mint green in it, just a tad. So that's the one I'm going to use. I think it'll look good. So put your turquoise up in the top of your machine. And this is a 2-minute in real life stitch out. Okay. Any loops? Nope, we're good to go. All right, here we go. Those two look really good together. Okay, I'm happy with that selection. So now I need you to get out the thread that you have labeled as number 16, color change, Baby's Breath, which is kind of like just a tad off-white. And I'm going to put that one in the top of my machine. This one's a lengthy stitch out. This one's a 7-minute. So we're good, no loops. So let's stitch out step number 16. Very cool. All right, so now we are on step number 17, which is the darker of the two grays. So go ahead and put that thread in the top of your machine. I think they call it Battleship. And we're almost done. You're doing so well. You've only got a few color changes left. And this block is looking awesome. Can't wait to see the rest of the bookshelf. Okay, so now we have got a 2-minute stitch out. Put your foot down and let's stitch out. Uh-oh, spiders, ew. Okay, now we're going to do the lighter gray. They call it Overcast for step number 18, which is going to be some line work on the crow and the skull. So this is a 6-minute in real life stitch out. All right, you got this. We only have a few more steps to go, and you're going to have your first finished block. Yee-haw, okay. Thread that machine. Oops. Let's try it one more time. There we go. No loops. All right, let's stitch it out. Here we go. Okay, you are doing so well. Now we're going to put the sawdust color thread back in. And mine was a little bit yellow gold. I'm going to stick with that so my bird matches and my key will match. You put your sawdust color thread up on top. And let's stitch this out. This is an 8-minute stitch out. It's got to do the key. All right. You got this. Any loops? No loops? All right, here we go. Oh, this is turning out so amazing. All right, we've only got 2 steps left. And step number 20 is a khaki color thread, which is going to be an accent here on the shelf. So let's go ahead and put that color thread up at the top of your machine. You got this. Again, only 2 to go. 2 more steps to go. And you will have finished your first block in this project. Way to go. All right, no loop, we're good. This is a 2-minute stitch out. Let's do it. All right, we are down to the last thread. Now, this is the step that we actually started this whole block with, and this is going to be the outline. Okay, they're saying use step number 21 is emerald black, but I'm going to go back to regular black on this one because I want it to blend in with the fabric. I don't want to use my blue black that I used earlier. I'm going to use regular black, because this is just an outline around the block. It's the same stitch that we did 3 times at the beginning. We actually don't technically have to do this, but I'm going to do it because I want the black to be on the top of the outer stitch areas over here. Right now, the original black right here is underneath it, so I'm going to stitch it again and let it be on top now as the final piece all the way around the side, all right? So let's put a foot down and let's stitch out this outline in black. Here we go. And you did it! This is such a cool block. Look at that. You see it? It's amazing. You did it. And I look, now the black is on top. Everything, it looks really, really nice. I'm happy with that. Got a little stray thread up here I'm going to take care of. And I had a little stray thread here on the eye. I'm going to take care of that. There we go. That's so cool. I'm really excited about how this came out. And you can imagine how cool the rest of this project's going to be. Cannot wait. So now you're done with this for right now. Take the hoop off your machine. You can take the block out of the hoop and go over to the table. And then I'm going to show you how to finish up this block. Okay, change of plan. Go ahead and put this block off to one side. What I'm going to do is we're going to stitch all of the blocks out first, and then I'm going to do a video that shows you how to finish the blocks up, okay? So just go ahead and put this finished block off to one side. You can take it out of the hoop, but just put it off to one side, and we'll finish all 9 blocks at the same time, all right? So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you had a lot of fun and love to see this block come to life. So please stay tuned here on Jolly Molly TV for the next video where we'll do another fun block in this Build a Halloween Bookcase project. So until I see you again, take care and happy stitching. Bye-bye.